Moving on now, Secretary of State Antony Blinken getting ready for a possible meeting with a top Chinese diplomat tomorrow while he attends the Munich Security Conference in Germany. This just 12 days after the U.S. shot down a Chinese spy balloon off the coast of South Carolina, which ultimately forced Blinken to cancel a planned trip to Beijing.
Joining us now for more is the vice chair of the Center for American Security for America First Policy Institute and former CIA analyst Fred Fleitz. Fred, good morning to you. All right, so does this meeting happen, and is this the right move by the administration?
It's good to be here. We don't know whether this meeting is going to happen yet. The Munich Security Conference is tomorrow through Sunday. Blinken is going, and so is Vice President Harris. And my guess is that the Biden administration is fairly desperate to get a meeting with the Chinese foreign minister. They would like to patch up this controversy over the Chinese spy balloons. Harris said yesterday there's nothing to this. This is all according to plan in U.S.-China relations. The question is, will the Chinese foreign minister agree to a meeting?
Yeah, do the U.S. and China even have relations right now? In all, 4 objects, at least 1 balloon, have been shot down in the last 8+ days. Kamala Harris, you just referenced this. So Politico yesterday, Kamala Harris was talking about the Chinese spy balloon episode, and she said, this is a quote, "I don't think it impacts our relationship with China." Fred, do you agree with that assessment?
I think it's hurt our relations pretty significantly. But to your question about our relations, and we've discussed this on the program before, the Biden administration has had very little communication with senior Russian and Chinese officials for some time. I don't know why this is. Now, recently, the Chinese defense minister has refused to speak to Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. You know, Blinken was planning to go to China earlier this year, and he canceled it because of the spy balloon. That trip should have taken place, months ago, at least a year ago. Now they're trying to get relations rolling again. But I got to tell you, I don't think the Chinese are as insulted about the shoot down of this spy balloon as we think. They're going to use this as a negotiating tactic to extract concessions from the U.S. to normalize relations.
Yeah, Fred, I want you to listen to the White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. She was asked if we will hear from Biden on the spy balloon.
At this point, but on the criticism of coming from lawmakers that the president hasn't spoken out more on this, should we expect to hear from him at some point, or is part of the reason that we're not hearing from him because, as you said, people shouldn't be panicking? Is there a concern that the president?
I don't have any announcement or anything to preview on a potential, remarks by the president.
All right, Fred, he was at the White House over the weekend. He dodged reporters. We had this spy balloon. We have other unidentified flying objects that we shot down. No word from him. And I just think on the communication side, don't the American people deserve to hear from the president? People are wondering, what is it? Who did it? And what are we going to do about it?
This is the least accessible U.S. president in recent history. Look at the Super Bowl. He had an opportunity, like previous presidents have done, to just sit down and take some fairly easy questions from a Fox News reporter, talk about this issue, maybe joke about the spy balloons, but he chickened out. And the White House doesn't want to put Joe Biden in front of even fair media, not just hostile media, because they're worried that there's going to be a misstatement that they'll have to walk back. And I think you're right. This is a disservice to the American people. They need to hear from Joe Biden, not just on this questions, but other major questions facing this country.
Great point. And it's not like he would have sat down with Tucker Carlson or something like that. It would have been Brett Baer or Martha McCallum or somebody like that, somebody who's more in the Fox News division. And
the
it
White House could have negotiated which Fox host would talk to him.
And it would have been 100 million Americans.
It wasn't going to be Tucker Carlson.
Right. He would have reached 100 million Americans, a huge miss, and he broke a 20-plus year tradition. Lloyd Austin, the defense secretary, we've got about 30 seconds left, Fred, said, quote, "These objects do not present a military threat to the people on the ground." Do you agree? Because these objects are gathering information that ultimately could pose a very big threat to the people on the ground.
Well, this giant spy balloon, the size of 3 buses, I think was collecting enormous amounts of intelligence. It also had a payload capability. It could have dropped something on the U.S. This could have been a spy device. This could have been a weapon of mass destruction. I don't think that happened here. I think this first giant spy balloon was a probe. It was probing U.S. air defenses, and it was testing President Biden's decision-making, and President Biden failed those tests.
All right, Fred Fleitz, great to have you back on. Look forward to doing it again soon. Thank you.
Good to be here.
All right, lots more.